Hi guys, it's Daisy from Yoseka Stationery and welcome to today's video. We are filming at Yoseka Land, which is Yoseka's event space located across the street from Yoseka Stationery's store in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. And today's video is going to be how to use your Plotter 2026 schedule refills. So for this event that we have ongoing, which is called Planner March 2026, Plotter was very kind to actually send us some actual usage samples of how to use the 2026 schedule refills that they make with their plotters. So I thought I would do a little video and show you just what to do with the 2026 schedule refills made by Plotter if you're using a Plotter ring binder system. And so if you haven't heard of Plotter before, I'll do a brief little explanation. Plotter is a brand that was established in 2017. They're from Japan, and in 2022, on their 5th anniversary, they actually decided to release their products here in the US to much fanfare because a lot of people were really excited about Plotter after hearing about it and seeing it, but it was only available in Japan. So in 2022, they released in the US, and what it is basically a ring binder system, which means that inside these notebooks, the basis of them are these rings, these metal rings, and there's usually 6 in each binder, 6 rings, but there's one of them called the Mini 5 that just has 5 rings. These binders, the Plotter binders, come with a 0.4-inch ring. And a unique feature of the plotters is that they have a back plate here that, first of all, it's very eye-catching. So if you see something like this with a back plate, you probably know that it's a plotter, but it also serves a purpose of making the rings quite sturdy. So that is a nice feature of it as well. And according to Plotter, the term plotter is a person or a creator who shapes their future or shapes or changes the future. So the idea of the plotter is that it's really made for people to customize in their own way, to plan out projects, to think through ideas. And seeing this usage sample here is a great way to highlight exactly how their products help people do that. So plotters come in 5 standard sizes. I have 2 of the sizes here. This is the A5 size. This is the Bible size, which is probably the most common and most popular size. There's the narrow, and then there's the mini and the Mini 5. So the mini comes with 6 rings, but it's much smaller, and then the Mini 5 is basically just a 5-ring version. These are pretty standard ring binder sizes for those of you who are quite familiar with ring binders. They're a whole thing, and there's a whole world of them out there, and a lot of these sizes are compatible. That's a brief explanation of Plotter, and I hope that helps you to kind of understand a little bit more about Plotter. I have to say that a personal opinion of mine is that they also look really nice. They are just very aesthetic, and I love how minimal they are, and the leather is a really nice leather. Most plotters come with Pueblo leather, which is an Italian leather that always has this kind of finish on it. They're quite nice, and they come in 4 different colors. There's black, there's navy, there's brown, and there's beige. And the basic concept of Plotter is that it's a ring binder system, and you're supposed to use the binder with these memo pads. So these memo pads are basically like sold separately. These are in the Bible size. So the Bible size ones are compatible with this. And they come in these memo pads, which are already punctured with the holes, and you're supposed to be able to tear pages out of the memo pad and put them into your ring binder, the plotter, to use and really customize exactly what kind of paper you want in there and in what order. Since it's a ring binder, you can put the papers in whatever order you want. You don't have to be married to like a particular order once you've already written it down. If you want to insert a page in, if you want to take a page out, you can rebundle, reorganize, and sort it that way and sort of really sort out your ideas. And that's why it's a good project planning, project managing tool for creators to shape their future. So without further ado, let's take a look at the 2026 schedule refills and see how Plotter intended for them to be used. So here we have the Bible size and the A5 size, and I'm going to just take a look at the Bible size first. The elastic band here is actually an accessory refill that's sold separately from the ring binder itself. So it is called the lifter with band, and it basically is this thing over here which comes with an elastic loop that you can use to keep your notebook shut, but you also just don't have to use that if you don't want to. So this is kind of a really good way to visualize how plotters are intended to be used in the first place. So you can see here, this sample is created using, these are the project management sort of folders, and there's different sections created for planner, notebook, and journal. And these are basically just a type of insert that helps you sort, organize, keep together the different sections of your ring binder. So the first section here is the planner, and let's take a look at how it's supposed to be used. So this is the Plotter 2026, and this is a monthly 2026 schedule refill for February. So you can see here, what's cool is that this project manager folder really only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It has just 7 sheets of paper inside. And that's because that's all you really need if you're thinking about like planning for your current life. You might really only be using a few pages at a time. And that's the appeal to a lot of people of these ring system binders, and specifically Plotter, because you don't have to be carrying around the whole year. You can switch out the papers and the pages. You can get rid of some, you can bring them back. You're not married to a particular notebook. Your notebook is basically, it becomes dynamic with your life. So that's the whole concept. And you can see here in these 7 pages, this person is just carrying around, you would just be carrying around the February. There's some monthly to-dos. There's also some color coding going on here. So it's clear to me that the green is sort of social, personal life, and the blues are for work. So that is how this person is showing how they're using their plotter. Then if you're in February, you probably also want to carry around March, but do you really need the months after? It depends on who you are. Some people yes, some people no. So if you don't have to, you can take that out. And then also in the planner section, you have the weekly schedule. So this is the February that's corresponding. Maybe you only want to carry around the next couple of weeks. This is very different from a lot of planners that are more of a book where you have to carry around the entire year, even though you might not be using the whole year. So you're only carrying around a couple of weeks, and I can see here, so this is the day, February 2nd, February 3rd, February 4th, and it is a weekly horizontal format where this person, one example of how to use it is really separating work on the left and kind of personal things on the right. So you can see like all of these meetings. I already know that Job made these usage samples for us, but I love like seeing all the names inside. This is so real because Job works at Plotter, or he works at Designfill for Plotter, and you can see he's like a meeting with April, and this is just so real. I wonder if he took it from his personal actual planner pages for this past year. So he has all of these work to-dos where he's making check boxes on the left side. He has like major appointments and meetings over here. And then on the right side, kind of personal to-dos. So meal plan, prep overnight oats, make kanji, started the bear. I've been meaning to watch that too, Job. Vacuum, etc. So this is an example of how to use that. And then you're just carrying around 2 weeks at a time. This week is blank right now. I like the idea of using, this is another memo pad refill. This one is called the to-do list. So it's literally just an entire, it would be like a whole refill. Oh, this is it. The to-do list memo pad. So it's an entire glued pad of just lines for your to-dos, and then the percentage of, you can track how done you are with something, how far you are with it, or you can just completely check something off. Because this is such a customizable sort of notebook that is, as I said, dynamic, I think I'm gonna use that word from now on, because it's a dynamic notebook system. You can put like 2 monthly pages, and then you can put 2 weeklies, and then you can follow it up with some blank memo pages, or you can follow it up, in this case, Job followed it up with a to-do list, just 1 page of a to-do list, which kind of is all you need for maybe a whole week, right? So that's the planner project. And the next project is notebook, where we see Job is doing some brainstorming, writing down things I've learned. And I like that, this is the appeal, once again, of the plotter, is that you can mix your dotted pages with your grid pages, with your blank, and so on and so forth. You can put another to-do page in there. It's super customizable, it's dynamic, it moves with your life, it moves with your needs. So that's the notebook. And then last but not least, this is the journal, where we find things more like ink purchases and actual memories and journal layouts and journal entries of travel and photos and things like that. So, and you can, once again, just put like whatever paper you want in there as well, which is nice. So that's the journal. And then in the back here are just some examples of the different types of paper that plotter memo pads come in. So there's blank, there's grid, there's ruled, there's the to-do list, this is dot, and then this is the refill, the accessory, the lifter with the band that we talked about earlier. So this was a look at the Bible size and how somebody might use the Bible size, but let's take a look at the A5 size usage sample, also prepared by Job, and kind of examine and think about what somebody can do with the extra added space of the A5 pages with regard to the schedule refill. So the A5 is here. And once again, we have the different project managers. We have the project for planner, notebook, and journal. So it's kind of the same sections, but there are gonna be some differences just because of how different the size of the paper is. So let's take a look. This is the weekly schedule. This one is undated, so you can see Job here is writing the dates in himself with the days of the week, and using like a left and a right system. And we have the months over here, and this is very similar in function to the Bible size that we looked at earlier. So here's the Bible size, and here's the A5, and you can see the use case is quite similar, right? You're just writing in what to do, what you're doing, appointments and meetings for the month, but you do have a significant amount more space in each of the blocks, which maybe gives you a little bit more room to write in. More of that. And then here's the weekly schedule. So let's take a look side by side and see how these are different. So this is the Bible weekly. I think, where we saw a clear division of work versus life in the Bible size, because there's not as much space on the page. You have to be a little bit more structured and clear about how you're using the space. But in the A5, what we kind of see is that because you have added space, you have like this much space for the day, things get a little bit more mixed in. So for instance, we still see generally there's like work things, emails, no work, back to work, check in at 10, that's clearly like a work thing, but we do see like a little bit more mixed. So for example, change bedding, closet clean out. I think because of the more additional space, you're allowed to be like a little bit more flexible and use it just as a blank slate. And there's like a little bit more room for something like a photo if you wanted to paste that in as well. Here we even see like more work stuff on the right side because of the added space. So the A5 really just gives you more space. That is the planner project. And once again, we have a notebook project, which mixes the grid, more grid, a blank paper, and it's just kind of more, it's more dynamic than a typical notebook is because of the way the ring system binder is. Okay, so that's the notebook. And then this is the journal where I expect to see a lot more writing on each page because of how much space you have on an A5 size page. Yeah, like look at this. This is like a lot. This is good for people who write a lot. Okay, some ink swatching. Okay. All right, so that was I would say, a very realistic look at how somebody would use the 2026 schedule refills in an existing plotter that they have created for themselves. You can see the best thing about the plotter, I would say, is that you can really create those project folders for yourself, and the notebook is not static because the pages are not bound together, and you can really change things up every day, every week, every month, whatever your life looks like at that moment. You can shape it according to what your life is. So I hope this video helped you guys envision how you might use the 2026 schedule refills that are made by Plotter with a Plotter ring system binder. Let us know in the comments if you already use a Plotter or if you're thinking about one, and how you use it and what you think of the dynamic features of a Plotter. And thank you all so much for watching this video. Bye!